It's actually a story. It's sort of like a parable, if you want to call it, but told to me by my teacher, Rabbi Mental Futafest. And he told me like this: why you should be positive. So he told me like this. Let me see what's going on. There we go. Oh, this is a little better. Why you should be positive. Once there was a very simple young Jewish boy. This is like 200 years ago, whatever. And he wasn't so good at learning Torah, wasn't good at anything. He didn't have very much of a mind at all. But his parents, he was a nice fellow, but he just really couldn't get ideas and things like that, anything complicated. So they decided they were going to give him the simplest job you could possibly have, which what's the simplest job you could possibly have? Being a wagon driver. A wagon driver was not like a taxi driver now. You have to know roads, you have to know something. Then there was one road that went from one town to another, and all you had to do was sit in your cart. You had to, fill up the cart and the drive, go to this, come back, look at the backside of the horse the whole entire day, or for the whole day, or all the rest of your life, just going and coming back. That's all you had to do. But there were a few things, small things that you did have to know. For instance, you had to know how to change the horse's shoes, horseshoes, and you had to know what happened if there was a breakdown of the wagon, and sometimes the horses would start going out of control. You had to know how to control them. Okay, so his parents took him to the wagon drivers, and they asked that he should be taught to be a wagon driver. Now, the wagon drivers weren't usually very intelligent people. And they were nice people, they were kind people, they were, industrious, whatever, but they weren't, particularly intellectual. So anyway, so they taught him the trade, and he learned pretty good, and he knew how to. So they said, okay, now we taught you the trade. Now we're going to give you a a test. A test. This is what I just passed the test. No, that was the test in deed. Now you have to have a test in theory. Theory? What theory? What type of wagon driver? Says it. And you're going to be asked three questions. One question: how do you change the the horseshoes? Another question: what do you do if the horses go crazy and start to run? And the third question is how do you change the wheels if a wheel falls off? What do you do? Go home and study and come back tomorrow. So he goes home and he writes it down. And he comes back and they tell him you can't bring a paper with you. You have to be. So the three wagon drivers, elders, sit opposite him, very stately and very seriously, and he's sitting in front of them on the other side of the table, and he's really nervous. He's really nervous because he's never passed a test in his life. So they go, okay, young man, first question: what do you do if the horses start to go out of control? I said, oh man, that was supposed to be the first question. I asked the third question. So he's sweating. He gets the answer. So what do you do? How do you change the horseshoes? So he starts to imagine how it is. You have to turn around, you have to hold the horse, and that's it. And he explains what to do. He said, what do you do if one of the wheels falls off? So he thinks a little bit. You get a stick, and you have to prop the thing up, and you have to move the thing, and then he gets the answer. Then the three judges nudge each other under the table, and they say, and what do you do if the horses start going crazy and all of their horseshoes fall off and the wheels break and the horse drags the wagon into quicksand, and the only thing sticking out of the quicksand is the horse's head and where you sit? What do you do then? So the young man suddenly becomes very, very calm. And he said, very simple. I jump off of the place where I'm sitting. I run around to the front of the horse. I look him in the eyes, and I laugh as hard as I can. The wagon drivers looked at each other and said, where did you get that answer from? Where did you get that answer from? And what possible good would it do to look at the horse and laugh? The horse is sunk in quicksand. What would it do? Look. And he said, listen, if I would cry, you think it would help? At least I'll laugh. From this, we can learn that when the situation is irreparable, impossible, nothing you can do, at least don't be miserable. At least don't lose your good mood. Maybe something good will come out of being happy, but for sure, nothing good is going to come out of being miserable. That's the story that my teacher, Rabbi Mendel Futavas, taught me. And this was very practical to him because he spent 7 years of his life in Siberia, in hard labor, in a communist camp where people were dying, people this. And nevertheless, he always managed to keep a positive mood. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, see you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Thank you for coming. God bless you all. And lehitraot.